What is up, guys? Welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Xavier Turbos. The last shredded bye round is done and dusted, and all I have to say is au revoir. I'm so glad it's over. It was a good period for myself. I did chase ranks, and I feel like I've done one last major push for a big finish. But to be honest, it's just so time consuming. It's the origin period is just so affected by this little period. This origin period, the NRL takes such a big hit, and I don't like it in terms of the NRL standard. This weekend, like, the games were amazing to watch, but I think it just lacks that little bit extra with the origin players out. Like, we had Pappy missing this weekend as well. We had multiple other players out with injuries. So it just was like a bit of a lull of a weekend. But that being said, the games were still really good. Like, that Bulldogs and Broncos games, how the Broncos came back from that was just amazing. The Cowboys really went head-to-head with the Melbourne Storm. We did think it was going to be a shellacking. St. George put it up against the Canberra Raiders and nearly won as well. Had there been a nice call nice and early, the story might have been different. But I think Canberra were definitely the better side by far anyway. But then today, the West Tigers beat the Roosters. Who saw that coming? Manly, I think everyone tipped Manly, but the Souths are really struggling with injuries at the moment. So SuperCoach for myself, 1,122. I did captain Tom Trebojevic. You might have seen on Instagram. I was speaking to the boys before the game, and I'm just like, I didn't want to loop Teddy's 77. That try at the end was very frustrating because even though he got that try, his score wasn't loopable. Like 77 in a bye round, come on, man. I want more than that. Turbo scores 50, then you're not really losing much by looping. So I decided to go Turbo. I saw Tallis Duncan was out on that center, and I thought, yeah, they might attack that edge. It's just always the case when a back rower goes out to center. It's just a no-brainer. Just captain whoever that center is. We would have captained Ruben Garrick with no questions asked. How did that happen on that edge? But that being said, Ruben Garrick was the backup captain for a lot of boys. Timmy and Grant had their captaincy on Ruben Garrick, 126. What a move by them. I think for myself, I love the Ruben Garrick shout, and I would have got 10 more points from it. But you know me, I think the Tommy shout was really exciting, and I love that I did that. So, pretty good week for myself. 1-1-2-2. Could have done a lot better. Obviously, I traded in Daniel Tupou. Think had I gone Nwanga Nituase, I would have been a lot better, but I was never considering Nwanga Nituase, to be honest. I think just in terms of final 17 at the end of the year, I don't think he makes it. So I think Tupou is someone I'm happily going to move on in a couple of weeks. So I got that early trials looking good, but then Nwanga Nituase just absolutely killed it. So, and I did a sideways trade of Lachie Galvin to Dylan Brown to Lachie Galvin, and I think that's backfired heaps. I was speaking to Timmy this morning, and I said to him, I probably should captain. I probably shouldn't. I've said to myself in the past, never buy players from key positions who are going to new sides for at least 5 to 10 weeks, because I think it takes a while for these players to gel. And Lachie Galvin for the Tigers, hands on the ball, a lot of attacking stats, a lot of running and offloads. It feels like that. I think I've made a mistake here, to be honest. I think the Bulldogs they're coming second at the moment. They've achieved very well this year. I wouldn't say overachieved, but they've done more than what we've expected them to do, and they are a top tier side at the moment. But I think the combinations are going to take a lot longer than I kind of expected, especially with Lachie Galvin. But let's head over to Friday night. The Bulldogs fell short to the Broncos, 22-18. Top scoring for the Broncos. Ezra Mam, 95 points. Say what you want about him. I think he's been phenomenal in NRL this year. I think I'm a little bit over the drama from the end of the year. I'm prepared to move on, to be honest, and just look at it without a biased point of view. I think in the past, like straight when he came in, I was really like, nah, he's not good. But yeah, I'm just willing to forget it. I'm not willing to forget it, but just willing to look past it. But I think Supercoach wise, he has looked good. Like he's got a lot of try assists, a lot of tries, and a lot of attacking stats. And it seems like a lot of attack is going through him. So I think the Broncos, since him and Walsh have come back into the side, have been really good. And I guess looking at their draw moving forward, they do have the Gold Coast Titans and Parramatta in the next 2 weeks. So if you did purchase him this week, I think he's a brilliant purchase for the next few weeks. And then they have South Sydney, Melbourne Dolphins, Newcastle, North Queensland, and then the Melbourne Storm. They do have a bye in round 20, but they've got a really good draw. So I think he's a nice little purchase to have. Xavier Willison, 77, big minutes with Haas being out. I think Supercoach-wise, doesn't really matter. Pierre Cora went over for a try, 66. Karapani, 56. I'll go over to Supercoach data. Bloody Jay Schubert on Instagram, and I'll just see how much he is going to be price-wise, because I think that's going to be a hot talking point. When do we cash out? So let's go to Bulldogs. So Karapani makes 62K. 62K will have a 37 break even. I think that was a lot shorter than a lot higher than I thought it'd be. So he goes up to 480, nearly 500. So we need some attacking stats from him next week for him to have another maybe lot of price rises, hopefully. But he's got a pretty good draw, so very playable in the next few weeks. I'm definitely looking at selling after that little run there. Not much else here. Like Cobbo did all right. Reynolds had a bit of a shocker. But yeah, not much Supercoach-wise for the Broncos here with their origin players being out. Over to the Bulldogs. Kick out, top score with 69, scored a try. Didn't see as much ball as we expected him to on that edge with Lockie Galvin coming in and out. So I think that might be a bit of a worry, but kick out's just looking so good Supercoach-wise. He 29 points in tackles and 10 points in offloads. 12 points in runs. So that's bigger than we're usually expecting from him. Matt Burton, 60 points. I think he looked a lot better than that 60. Connor Tracy, 56. Lockie Galvin updated to 53. He had his hand in the first 2 or 3 tries. But I think just how he looked after that, like he just tried to force that face ball, and it's all he had. He didn't have anything else to show to the Broncos, and I think the Broncos picked up on that pretty easily. So he's going to have to work on that, and I'm a bit worried that he stays on the bench next week. But the reason I bought him is because Sexton and Marnie confirmed to sign with other clubs. So I'm like, surely they pull the trigger now. Like, surely it's just easier to pull the trigger now. I don't know if it's going to happen, though. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest. Jacob Preston, 45 points. Bit underwhelming, but with a good draw coming up, it's not too bad. I think he just looked the goods there. Let's move on to the Canberra-St. George game. And as I said earlier in the podcast, that Tyrell Sloan first try for the forward pass. What a ridiculous call. Like, what are you doing? The touchies don't have much of a job. But that call to call forward pass, just absolutely ridiculous. And I feel like they're so scared to make certain decisions, but they're willing to make a call like that was, I think it was a line ball at worst. Like, you look at where he caught the ball, it was pretty much in line with Sully passed the ball, but we know, like, he was going backwards when he got tackled. So, like, it's just weird how the touchies are willing to make calls like this, but then they're willing to let go the forward pass the Walsh threw last year. Like, I just don't get some of these touchies. But anyway, Supercoach-wise, KO Weeks, 156. He looked electric. It is a bit disappointing as someone who sold a 5'8", to someone like Lockie Galvin, because earlier in the week, I was looking at KO Weeks. I looked at his numbers, very rocks and diamonds, and I think we knew this was going to be a good game for him. Has a bye next week. I just think like it was very frustrating knowing I had 2 options to choose from, very similar price, Weeks and Galvin. Not that I was considering it this early on, but if I had more time to think about it, it would have been more of a calculated decision. Just when I saw Galvin in the starting side, I was like, yep, I want Galvin. He's a good price. Whereas I dismissed Weeks earlier in the week, even though I liked him. But I think I'm still happy with the decision. But this is the kind of play you get in for a score like this that really can help you boost up the rankings, and it's just a missed opportunity at worst. Timoko, 82 points. Fogarty, 74. Hosking, 67. Not many attacking stats in that for Hosking, which was good. Tarpanay, 46 points. He went off with like that ankle injury after they blew a penalty and didn't come back on till the last 10 minutes or so. And I think for me, like, I'm not worried about the injury at all. I don't think it was an injury that kept him off. I think it was just the situation of the game. They were in front the whole game. But then St. George come back on, and he probably came on too late for them to do anything. I just think it was situational. They were up against a good side. Ricky saw his opportunity to give him a rest. I think with their draw for the rest of the season, they've got a very, very good draw for the rest of the season. So I am a bit worried about Tarpanay, and I think he might be a sell because just based on this really good draw for the rest of the year, I think we could get more games like this where he's not demanded massive minutes. Papali was out of this game as well. Maybe that came into factors because you didn't have that smaller minute forward taking up a spot. You had all these young guys who are willing to play bigger minutes, so you didn't really need Tarpanay to play big minutes because there was a good chance to play these younger guys. So it could pan out either way in the future. But yeah, I am worried for Tarpanay, and to be honest, he's been underwhelming. Jed Stewart, 38. Would have liked a bit more from him, but no real attacking stats in that. 38. Jed, yeah, no attacking stats at all. I think it's good to see. He did get a line break, which is a bit concerning. But I think we all expected that kind of score from him. Over to St. George Illawarra Dragons. Tyrell Sloan, 93. Not really a Supercoach option. Supercoach options here. Gutson, 61. Probably not. Sione Finau, 52. He looked pretty good. He's still 270K. He's played 2 games, so he will make a little bit of money there. But hopefully the next game he plays, I mean, him on that left wing, it's interesting, but probably wouldn't be looking at a cheapie this time of year. I think Karapani was definitely our last one that we're looking for. Not much else for the Dragons, to be honest. Like Little, 28 points, will lose a bit of cash, go down to 400K. Then there's Cook, he's 540. He'll stay the same. So there's not much else doing there. Sewer, 85. They're a bit of a not very good team to look at Supercoach-wise, are they? Melbourne defeat the Cowboys, and Pappy being laid out threw a real spanner in the works here. I think a lot of people really wanted to go Pappy as a vice captain with Teddy as captain. I think this had some ramifications on people's scores this week because Drinkwater, 99 points. A lot of people pivoted and went to him. A lot of other people went to Jerome Hughes, who scored 58. So I think 99, he was on 104 before updates. I think you definitely would have taken whatever drink he was on, regardless of whether you updated or downdated. So like 99, very good. Better score than Teddy. So you're definitely taking that for sure. I think you would have death rode Teddy today, and that try at the end was just devastating. The fact that Teddy scored that, because the people who were willing to bank the points were really going to get rewarded for that. And in the end, it was only a 20-point turnaround, which is good. Like, at least you still came out in front, but at the same time, yeah, what it could have been. John Bateman, 89 points. Tom McHaley, 64. Jackson Purdue, 57 with a try. Not much else for the Cowboys here. One thing to note, Jake Clifford and Scott Drinkwater are sharing the kicking duties. So when Scott Drinkwater is on the right side of the post, he's taking the kick because it's on his good side as a left footer. And when Jake Clifford is on the other side, he takes the kick. So I think Supercoach-wise, it is good because you're probably not getting as many minuses from Drinkwater, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you're probably not getting them bulk scores if they put on points against sides as well. But I think Drinkwater's just that high upside guy. I have been saying over the last couple of weeks, I don't know if I finished with Drinkwater. I'm still yet to decide on that, but no one's really screaming their hand up to go to anyway. Melbourne, Nick Meaney top scored, 165. What a performance. Going back to fullback with Pappy out. It's only going to be like a 1 week thing. Potentially he's out next week. Longo's out for a little bit as well with that hamstring injury. So real sliding doors moment, this. 2 tries, 20 points in goals, 20 points in tackle bus, 4 line breaks, and a line break assist. What a day out for Nick Meaney. He looked really good. He looked really, really good. And one thing to note here, he kicked 5 from 5, which I think this could impact Pappenhausen's stocks. Pappenhausen could potentially lose the goal kicking to Nick Meaney. Nick Meaney kicked 5 from 5 from all over the place. And I think Pappy's just been slightly off the mark with his goal kicking lately. So that's a massive watch for me. We saw Nick Meaney had the goal kicking earlier in the season. He was out with injury for a while. Pappy took the kicking. He was kicking well. So he took over when Nick Meaney returned. It could be a reverse jinx in this situation. So I think that's something to keep an eye out / put in the black book if you're considering trading out Ryan Pappenhausen or you're considering trading him in for the run home. Eli Katoa, 68 points, very highly traded in. Bronte Garlic, 72. I think if it was cheaper, I nearly would have pulled the trigger on McInnes to Garlic and gone Sandon to Harry Grant next week. And I think that would have really put me in good stead for the hookers for the run home. I would have loved to make that play, but Garlic was 390K. I just couldn't do it. But yeah, it was. I think he's a more than suitable replacement to go into that hooker slot when Harry Grant is out. Jerome Hughes, 58. And not much else for the Melbourne Storm. I think it was a pretty good game for the Storm. They'll be happy with the win. I think the Cowboys did turn up though, so it was good for them and their stocks. I think Bellamy would be happy. All right, let's move on to the Roosters play the Tigers today. 30-28. Who saw this coming? Nobody did. Terrell May top score with 94 points against his old club. What a beast. He just looks so good, so determined. And I think we always knew this was going to happen. If Teddy wasn't such a highly captained and such high upside person, I think that Terrell May would have been way more highly captained in this game. So if you did go the captaincy on Terrell May, you'd be cheering. You'd be cheering because he's probably due a few updates as well. Every Fainu brother scored in this game, which was interesting. Tristan Hope, 73 points, the backup hooker for the Tigers. Very good there. Dewey looked very good for a 56. But it wasn't really the Tigers SuperCoach stocks that really stood out here. It was Mark Nwanganituase, 107 points, 2 great tries, individual efforts. I think he is someone who you're really happy to have for the run home play on matchups, but for me, he's not a week in, week out type player, but it's hard to deny the numbers are so good. I think for me, it's not for me. It's not a play I want to make, but Jesus Christ, he's exciting to watch. Nafahu White, 77 points. Massive effort here. 36 points in tackles, 8 points in tackle busts, and 36 points in runs. He's currently at 515K, so he will go up a little bit of cash there. I think he was a nice little option to potentially go to from like a, even a Tino this week would have been nice. But we saw reports saying Tino is the injury is getting better, so I think that's good signs for Tino owners. Tedesco, 77. Late try really saved him. Timmy was blowing up because he put the VC on Teddy. It was looking really good to really make a jump on Teddy captainers, which was high this week. And that last try just makes it like not a loopable score, but not much of an avenue to make up ground. So, very frustrating score there. And he probably updates a bit, to be honest. Tom Rodwell, 63 points. Nice enough there. Daniel Tupou, my pod play this week, 52 points. very underwhelming there. Sandon Smith, 42 points. Sam Walker's due to come back next week, so I think we're going to say au revoir to Sandon Smith. I think a Harry Grant or a Connor Watson play is on the cards for sure. Not much else for the Roosters there. Let's move on to the last game. Manly beat the Rabbitohs 30-12. Ruben Garrick top scored with 126. He's a beast on the wing, and I think in past podcasts, I've kind of said I'm not really liking him on the left wing just based on Tommy isn't there at fullback to feed it to him, but Tommy is there feeding it to him. I think if Tommy was on the right side and Garrick was on the right side as well, I think he'd get less ball than what he's getting now off Tommy. So that's been a great move. And me and Grant had the conversation last week on the Q&A podcast, just whether Lehigh and Tommy should swap or Tommy should be at fullback. I think if they play like this, then I wouldn't mind keeping Tommy in the centres, but I don't know. I just feel like Tommy's the fullback. He looks so much better just regardless. Leave the decision up to Tommy. Tommy, 118 points. He was my captain. Very happy with that. They did put the Q in the rack in the second half, but I think they were just playing to win, not winning to play, not trying to look to play, if that makes sense. Daly Cherry Evans, 76 points. Lehigh, 61. Cooler looked good for his 60. Supercoach wise, there's not much else doing here, but for the Rabbitohs, Alex Johnson, 113 points at fullback. Who saw that coming? I think he looked very good. Tallis Duncan, another double, 103 points. This is the run he's gone on, right? Tallis Duncan since round 14. 70, 113, 63, 134, and now 105. He has 3... Let me get that up again. Tallis Duncan has 3 tons in 4 matches. 105. He's going to make like... Tallis Duncan is going to be over 700K after lockout. 700K. That's ridiculous. Tallis Duncan, I think he was the option to go on. 977 people traded him in. Jesus Christ. He is currently 5% owned. So if you jumped on a couple of weeks ago, hats off to you because he's been a great option. Kalamatangi, 66. Is he a sell? Loses 40K, goes back down 690. The last couple of weeks, he's kind of underwhelmed. The Rabbitohs have underwhelmed. Played 60 minutes last week for 45. Got 66 this week with... how many minutes did he play? He played 80 minutes, 66. For me, the upside's there, so I'm happy to hold on. But yeah, I think if he coasts along like this, the question's gonna come up even stronger every week. So yeah, I think Kalamatangi is something to look at potentially moving on. Hubner, 38, had a 60 break even, so loses a bit of cash there. Hopefully a massive sell next week. But Brandon Smith, 24, first game back. Looks like he's out for 46 weeks with a medial. Hats off to him. I think I was so excited to watch him play today, but it didn't quite work out for him. It really sucks when you see a player going through ACL recoveries and comes back, has all the energy in the world to just bust out a good game and just gets injured like that. There's not much else to report, to be honest. I think early trade thoughts through the week. It really depends on Origin. Like that hooker spot, I want to lock up. I want to go Sandon to Harry Grant or Connor Watson. I'm yet to be decided on that. Do I go like a Daly Cherry Evans to a Nathan Cleary? I don't think Nathan Cleary backs up. If he does, I'll just go straight to him. I think that's a pretty good option. But yeah, I think we're just got to wait and see how Origin plays out. Me and Timmy will be recording a podcast on Tuesday. We're doing the Daily Telegraph podcast as well. Also got a little Adidas party on Tuesday, which I'm excited to go to. Shout out to Adidas for inviting me. Think I got invited to an event weeks ago, and it was a day where Timmy was doing the podcast, and Timmy can't record the podcast till like 5:30 most Tuesdays, and the event was at 6. But this Tuesday, he's taking the day off to record the podcast, so I'll be able to get there. So I wasn't able to make the last one. I was so devastated because I'm like, Adidas is inviting me to an event. How good. So yeah, definitely not bailing on them this time. So we'll see on Tuesday, and then we'll have a post-Origin wrap-up just summarising SuperCoach implications. It'll be a Patreon Q&A episode / SuperCoach implications episode. So yeah, they're my early thoughts at the moment. Hopefully we get some green arrows. I'm currently 5,000th with a score of 1122. Let's just say I'm hoping I go up to at least 3.5. If I go any higher than 3.5, I'll be stoked. But who knows? Maybe I'm just reaching too far there. But thank you for tuning in for the Sunday wrap. I apologize I wasn't actually live today because I went to log on to the live thing. Some of you may have seen that we scheduled it for 7:20. But it actually, the system I was using wasn't working. It was like crashed or something. So I couldn't connect my microphone, which was weird. So I had to just pump out the camera. It's probably a better watching experience, to be honest, instead of seeing that grainy footage, seeing the background of my bed because my computer faces my bed. So we got it all happening. Anyway, cheers for tuning in and good luck with your SuperCoach. We'll see you next week, or we'll see you Tuesday.